Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bench X podcast where we cross paths once again. And we have led up to this point where we sit on this bench and you listen to me talk about all the interesting things that I want to talk about or think about, such as why is it that every single time when I go into the store and I just start looking at stuff and walk out and buy nothing, but I still feel like that I stole something? Yes, those are the things that I want to talk about. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. But those are the things that I do think about, at least walking out the store. Anyway, recently I've been getting like a lot of recommendations off of Instagram with a lot of cosplays, and they look so interesting and they are so detailed sometimes too. I'm like, well, I want to cosplay. It gives me the desire to cosplay. And so far in my life, I've only cosplayed once, and I went to this convention. It's called Level Up Expo, and I went to it twice so far. The first time, I was just like, I'm just gonna go there for the experience. And but the second time, I was like, I seen people cosplay. I was like, I definitely want to cosplay. It looks so fun to be a character that you want to be. And so this time I was Kageyama from Haikyuu, which is the setter for Kurasuno. And the day that came when I actually cosplayed, it felt really exhilarating because I get to dress up besides wearing just like regular pants, just a regular shirt, and everyone's in the mood to be whatever character you want. And I feel that those cosplays that people wear is actually like somewhat of a definition of how they feel or like a definition of who they are. And at this convention, there was like a lot of Genshin Impact and a lot of, I thought it was going to be also a lot of Attack on Titan at the time. Those two things were very, very popular. And I had this thought too, like, don't we in real life, besides going to all these conventions, do we also cosplay but secretively, or just like we're not aware of that we also cosplay outside of these conventions? For example, when we work at a job, we have to wear uniforms, and the uniform signifies that you work at the place, but also it shows that you have professionalism in the workplace as well. And a lot of businessmen show this because if you wear just your regular clothes, casual clothing, it doesn't show your representation of yourself as well, but a representation of the company or wherever you work, right? And extending this beyond, I always thought like friend groups, whoever you meet for the first time goes along these lines too. First impressions, when you go out to go eat, you dress up, and it shows like your taste in fashion, your taste in what the things you like. Basically, a definition again of who you are. To be honest, over the years, it has been so troublesome to keep up with this like society reputation thing, and it gets so tiring to wear this like mask or to wear this like costume of who I think like society wants me to be. And there's been a handful of events in my life where I felt like having to keep up a act, but I know I unconsciously didn't think about this, but just to keep up with this costume and this personality that I have outside of the world, there's a lot of things that are like inside that people of course don't see, and what I've also talked about from the last podcast. One time I was into Korean culture a lot, and I was listening to a lot of K-pop, and I was so interested in their language that I slowly adapted their culture into my life. K-pop around 3-4 years ago was probably like the peak. I don't know how it is now because I don't really listen to a lot of K-pop, but at the time I was at the peak of listening to it, and a lot of girls were listening to it as well. So I was still in college at the time, and I was gonna take a field trip. It was just for was it geology? Yeah, it was for geology, and I was having a positive mindset of, oh, I'm gonna try to make a lot of friends this time because I don't have a lot of friends in college in general. A lot of my friends after high school, we all sort of separated, but we still talk to each other. And so this is where I sort of got the mindset of, okay, I want to try to make new friends, try to make new experiences. And so I walk up to these two students. One was a girl and one was a boy, and they seemed like they were already friends. I'm like, cool. And I just asked them, hey, you guys are here for the field trip? Or I don't really understand what I said to them, but at first I did talk to them about, at least for the girl. The girl is the main point of this story. And I started talking about all the things that I personally liked, especially about the K-pop. The K-pop part was where I sort of messed up, and until this day I will never tell people what kind of music I like, besides now this podcast is already out. So I told this girl that I like K-pop, and then she also told me that she also liked K-pop as well. But this is where it goes downhill, and throughout the whole entire field trip she would kept nagging me and kept, I guess, having that stalker energy of, oh, what are you doing, what are you listening to, all those kinds of things that was so annoying to me that I could not enjoy the field trip of geology alone. I was like, this is cool. I get to go look at different rocks. I get to go be with nature for once. And I thought it was going to be a very fun day. But no, it turned out to be the opposite of it, just because of this one girl. Now, for some more things I can get into more detail, I was just sitting on the bus to get to the place, and she just kept nagging me. And usually at this time, if I'm like in a car ride, I just put in my earbuds and I just sleep until we get to the destination, until she kept asking me questions about what I was listening to. And this sort of kept going on and on. And it started to get more and more creepy. I wouldn't say creepy, but it started to get more annoying, and I knew what she was trying to do. I wanted to take pictures as well because, again, this is a once opportunity that I probably won't get to do again. And so I'm taking pictures of these rocks and stuff like that, taking pictures with other people. And she asked me like, hey, can you send me that picture? Joke, like knowingly that I know that she just wants my phone number. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I already know this is gonna happen. So that happens, and I send her the pictures, and then she has my phone number. This happens like the whole entire day. She follows me, and I can't really find peace to myself. At the end of the field trip, I believe like the next day, she texted me, and then I just like deleted the number and then just never spoke to her because I did not like the vibes that she was giving at all. This is why, in one point in my life, is the reason why I don't want to have a fake mask showing to people. It not only leaves a personality that's not really you, but it also can be very tiring if you keep showing that same mask. And maybe even some people to this day don't even recognize the things that they show towards people or how they act towards people. I don't know. I have to talk to them and ask them about those things, right? I don't really wear anything stylish. I always just usually wear just like a blank t-shirt now with just like my definition of who I am would be with some colors that I like, and then that would be it. Most of the time now it's just a lot of casual, and it's more being outside, just being comfortable most of the time. I don't really show much fashion unless it would be like a photo shoot. There's a purpose for that, right? Another example that I have got going in my life is how I don't really show a lot of facial expressions. And that's another thing. I don't want to create an artificial emotion that I don't want to feel towards something. Like if someone laughs about something, I'm not gonna fake it. There's no point in faking it if it's not actually funny to you. It's just like you're creating a world that people think who you are, at least your personality. And I at least want to tell people, hey, you don't have to laugh about this, you don't have to care, or you don't have to be a part of the group, or at least like be an event that you don't like. If it's not gonna give you any joy in any of these things, then it's like what's the point? I'm not really seeing the real you. A lot of guys and girls do this, and I think it pinpoints all the way back to being in school in general. Around elementary school to middle school for me, I didn't really care about all that popularity status stuff. At the time, I was still just listening to music, a lot of just playing a lot of video games, listening to a lot of OST video games, watching anime. And at that time, I didn't really care about what people think. But when it got to high school, that really shifted how popularity started to work. And I observed a lot of these things during high school of how groups of people played amongst each other. And what I observed is pretty brutal because you can tell when one person wasn't talking to another person. And even sometimes, maybe even like teachers have this same sort of problem in the workplace. And this alone could bring people to be separated from different groups. For me, I only have like 2, 3 friends that I actually talk a lot. Other than that, it's like all my group of friends went to a different path that they decided to go on. And that right there really does say a lot. At least when I've really like reflected and think about this, high school just became somewhat of like an artificial thing. Going into college, I was like, wow, it felt real at the time, but when we decided to go with our separate paths, this is going to happen regardless. And I knew that for a fact, that we had our own ideas in life and who we wanted to talk to, and the chemistry that we used to have was just never there anymore. It just makes me feel sad that how things sort of turned out sometimes. The expectation that I probably had in my head of, oh, we're going to be together for, a long time, but that timeline just never really happened. One of my friends did language and abroad. Another one went to college of photography. I'm like, that's great. But at the end of the day, I was like, who is going to still keep in contact with me? Who is still going to talk to me in general about these things or the ideas that I have? And sometimes life could just bring you a lot of different surprises. Even for myself, it's just interesting. And sometimes I just like, I'm fine being by myself, but there could be some things where I need to spice things up so then I don't get locked up and isolated in my room 24/7 and think about all people are terrible, or people just don't understand all that surface level stuff. And coming back to all the cosplay stuff of wanting to be that character, and it represents basically who you are because that character means something to you. I think a lot of video games have the same thing as well with MMOs. MMOs, you create a character to your liking and it has some sort of personality because you took the time to create the character. I'm not a huge fan of MMOs, but I do like character creation, and I do take my time if they do have the elements of changing hair, doing all the details with the face, such as Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Rise, it's on the Switch. Even though it's not a lot of character creation in the process, there is a lot of customization like armor, weapons, and I just go through thinking like, oh, this weapon would be so cool, this armor would be so cool to have, and then I just look at, oh, I have to get all this stuff and grind. It's also another great way to show off, oh, I like my character to be this way, to be pretty or cute, or in a sense that this character is strong, muscular, and it means that I'm ready to go into battle and just defeat all the large monsters, small monsters, and Monster Hunter. Now, I'm gonna keep coming back to this topic all the time with anime. I feel like anime characters can have a relation with people as well. Sometimes when I see a character that they're struggling and I'm at a place in my time where I feel like I'm struggling, it's like that character is not giving up. That itself is going to give me the push to not give up as well. Sometimes you even root for the character. Let's say it's a romance comedy or just a romance anime in general, that you root for the character wanting to go for that person that they love, because maybe something in your life, the struggle of having to like someone but not having the guts to confess to them, or maybe there's like a struggle that they have to overcome of a battle or training or something that they have to get stronger within themselves. A lot of slice of life is high school based and studying too, and Japanese students go through a lot of studying, and I believe that if they watch these sort of things where they just study, they might get the push to study more hours, get in the hard work, and actually get the highest score because at the end of the day, once they're done with high school, they have to go into college, go into the workforce. At least for where I live in America, it's different. Studying isn't really prioritized that much, and we sort of have to find our own map. I think of it as, well, these people that are making the production of this anime or this manga have a part of them from real life that they want to tell in the story, but it's very hidden, or maybe it's in plain sight, or maybe it's a puzzle that the reader has to pick out, or the person who's watching it has to figure out what the message is. And I always think that we can mesh these kinds of forms of media to what we think it's fantasy or fiction to be something real. Sometimes I wish I was able to go back in time and tell myself, don't act this way, or there's something's gonna happen in the future if you do act this way. Even if I do have that power, I still don't think it would be right to do so, because it took me a long time to get to where I am. And sorry if I'm gonna keep repeating myself for all these things, but it's it's true. The past self for me, I'm pretty sure understood that there was gonna be a lot of unknown stuff of the things the mask that I was gonna wear, the mask that I was gonna portray to people. But at the same time, I just liked the things that I liked. I liked K-pop. I liked a lot of Korean culture, eating a lot of Korean food, and I just didn't care still what people think. I just was happy. I was like probably the peak of happiness. But coming back to this day, there were a lot of things inside me that were very much like bottling up, and a lot of realizations to the present. Back then, I guess you can define me as the nice guy, and whenever I heard about that, I was like, is it so wrong to act like the nice guy? And in reality, for some reason, it's pretty bad, because everyone treats you like a floor mat. In other words, people just step all over you, people take advantage of you, and it really sucks, and you don't really get much of a benefit out of it, at least in my eyes now. To the present day, I know that I've become a lot more selfish with myself and just really do the things that I want to do. And having that thought to myself, I'm like, that itself is probably bad as well, but I'm not really sure. I don't know what is good, or I don't know what's bad. But I know so far, presently, I feel much more relieved than what I felt back then. Even if I felt like, peak happiness. Back then, it was so hard to get the emotions out of the frustrations and the anger that I had in me. But now I hope later down the line, which I will, with all the work that I want to do, will show those kinds of frustrations that I have. I guess you can say the mask that I wear every single day is like half of actual me and half of actual what I guess your customer service type of thing. Because if you're gonna be like a selfish douchebag every single day, then nobody's gonna like you. It's a whole balance of things that I have a lot of conflicts in my head of, did I say something wrong about this to this person, or did I act the way that it should be, or is this morally right? I just overthink the little things, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I said what I said, I did what I did, I can't go back on it. If I hurt them, then I'll definitely go say sorry to them. I know one thing is that I don't want to be quote unquote fake of who I am, and it just sort of sucks that being who you are and having like these first impressions on people really matter. It just sort of gets complicated on the social aspect of talking to people. Some things I can think of for on the male side is that we have to put up an act of being tough and hiding our feelings. But I think over time we sort of lessen that, where we can go to therapy and talk about our feelings and talk about the struggles. I'm pretty sure back then, especially my father, if he had emotions, he was not allowed to show it. It just showed a sign that he was weak as a male human. And they have to wear this costume or this cosplay of themselves of, hey, I'm just gonna wear like very tough t-shirts. You can't wear anything pink. Pink was the definition of being so girly and not manly back then, right? Be strong, muscular, and I don't think I'm none of those, to be honest. I feel that I like a lot of girly stuff. I also like a lot of I guess manly stuff, I like to go to the gym because that's relieving, stress relieving. But I also like a lot of girly stuff too because I play Hatsune Miku, if you can define that as a girly thing. But I think both of those things are fun. As for the girls' side, at least what I observe is that they wear a costume of putting up makeup all the time, and a lot of high school girls do this as well. And I just sort of think to myself, what, that's like so much work that you have to get up early in the morning to wear makeup every single day so that you can please guys, or you can please like your reputation, or keep up playing this cosplay that you play every single day up until the day that you don't feel like doing it anymore, or you just graduate, or to the point that I don't know, you find someone and they like you for who you are. That itself, or from what I observe, is so tiring than what the guys have to do. I always hear the guys side of, oh, you guys don't have to do put any makeup. Girls always have to do these things for guys. Nowadays, I don't think we have to go through that, or maybe it has less in it. I don't know. I do not have a lot of knowledge on that. But what I can observe from my day to day thing, I personally like having girls not wear a lot of makeup, or even not wearing makeup at all sometimes. And it's for the fact that it really shows who they are, and it shows like their casual side, and they get to act however they want to act. It feels so stressful to putting makeup, going to the store and keep buying clothes that would fit society's like needs or fashion. But if you're into that, it's totally fine. But if you felt like it's a need, if you unconsciously think that it's a need for you to keep up doing these things, probably like after high school, it's like it's just too much. It At the end of the day, I don't think it matters because we're just bound to all the social media and all the things that we think people like, but no one's gonna really look behind the scenes of what they go through. I only dress up for the occasion, or let me again put it this way, I only cosplay for the occasion of having the surprise factor. If you ever seen someone that has always just wear the most casual things, like they just sort of got out of bed or stuff like that, and then one day you go to the party or they go to this event and you see them in this outfit that you've never ever seen them before. Their hair is different, the makeup that they wear is different, or they're wearing makeup for the first time. I think that's because it's definitely a new world that you probably have never seen them before, but also it's just eye catching. It's like the trump card when you play Yu-Gi-Oh and it's like, oh no no no, I got something up my sleeve. You never seen me in this before, and those moments are pretty cool. I myself have a lot of trump cards, but it wouldn't be a trump card if I just told you here. So I think maybe down the line I will show it to you guys. Now, I like to have these moments of encouragement for people, like I'm some sort of anime character or something like that. But at least it's something to get you to think about, just to start a conversation. If you have this mask that you wear every single day, and this is just you personally, this has nothing to do with any work, because work is just separate from your personal life, or maybe just like video games. Let's just say this is just you, yourself. If you have a mask that you wear and you don't want to quote unquote be fake, you can definitely be who you are, but know that every action comes with a consequence, right? If you show completely who you are to your friends, to your family, but there's also a factor of, if you just don't feel like having to put up this piece of clothing just because it's not who you are, or putting makeup because it's so tiring to do so every single day just to take a break from it, that itself I would say is probably really brave of you to do so, because I think social media and a lot of information that we see on the internet has sort of created this artificial thing of how we're supposed to look at each other, even though that's not how it really is the, the expectation versus reality sort of thing. And again, over the years it has gone down, and we've been having these conversations of be who you are, be what you represent, right? Have individuality, and also having this personal mask that you want to show to the world. It will have proof for like the people that will actually care about you for who you really are, instead of those people that want to create a group and just be a part of the crowd. People are so complex of themselves, and I just want to tell people that if you observe this thing to people, it's fine to like at least ask them why they act this way, why they feel this way, uh, why you play this character even though probably it's not you. I don't know. I just think it's somewhat heartbreaking to not be able to be who you are, or at least tell people the things that you like, just because someone would judge you for it. I think naturally you'll probably bring your own crowd of the people that have chemistry with you or the things that you like. Hey, there's like a whole Reddit page of all the things that people talk about. I haven't been on Reddit, but I know there's a handful of Reddit posts literally about everything, and it's so interesting that there's just different communities for different people. And if you do enjoy this episode, you can go over to my Instagram for more content where I do renders. I try to do weekly now. There's more videos on my YouTube channel, which is also going to be here on Tosuter. And this is also going to be on Spotify as well. And if you can do so, you can go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe as well. I would greatly appreciate it for more people to come into my universe and to sit down with me, and hope we can actually start more conversations like this. Have talks that I think a lot of people don't really talk about just one on one. But I don't know. Thank you. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. And I hope to find the real you, I guess. Or cosplay as Hatsune Miku. Or, you do what you want, right? Whatever. See ya.